Hello. Today we are starting to talk about edging. I'd like to start the series of tutorials on edging with the simplest and the most popular one, rope. It is woven in 2 stages and it is really simple. I have seen many tutorials on it, but the one I like most of all and I have learned on is the one by Елена Strogoi on Land of Masters. So, let's start. We have woven a small tray. To weave the edging, especially from painted tubes, I soften them and moisturize a little from a sprayer. It is better to leave them for a while. The radiators are warm now and the tubes get dry fast. So we have moistened the tubes. I've done it for the second time, so I start weaving right away. The first action we do is taking the tube, leading it behind the following one, and leading it outside. This way. Look from this perspective. 1 and lead. Bend and lead. If we did not moisturize the tubes, they would likely crack, but we've done our best to avoid it. Anyway, it happens sometimes. You see the tubes are slightly dry. 1 and this way up to the very end. This way, tucking the poles in, we reach the very end. And here we insert the last pole into the first loop. That's all. Everything is tucked in smoothly. Everything is stretched smoothly. The first stage of rope is finished. The next stage of the rope. We take one of the poles and tuck it in. Here several varieties are possible. In the first case we will do like this. Tuck it in behind the first pole. I do it this way because my poles are of different lengths and some of them are very short. We can try tucking in behind the third or fourth pole next time, if the remaining poles are longer. Now we do it like this. Take the pole and just tuck it inside. Take the next one and tuck it inside as well. And this way we reach the very end, pulling if necessary and smoothing. Watching the tension to be equal. When we are coming close to an end, we watch the pattern we are getting to avoid mistaking at the end of edging. We tuck in the last but one as usual, and the last one, to make the pattern smooth, we tuck into this last empty loop. That's all. Later we drop some glue to the places of connection. Pull where necessary. And later, after the glue dries out, we will cut the tips carefully. The simplest pattern, the simplest braid is ready. I'd like to show you one more variety of the rope.
Показать еще один вариант нашей веревочки. То есть первый этап такой же,
The first stage is the same like in the previous case.
То есть мы загибаем
We bend every pole behind the next one.
за последующую.
1,
Ходим до
2,
последней,
reach the last one,
доходим до последней и аккуратненько ее умягчаем и заводим.
soften it very carefully and tuck it into the first
В
loop.
предыдущем случае вот единственное,
Everything is the same as in the previous case. The only difference is that the length of the tubes allow us to tuck not into the next one.
здесь, во-первых, смотрите, расстояние между стойчиками меньше.
You see here the intervals between the poles are shorter and the poles themselves are longer.
Когда мы будем
That's why we can allow ourselves such a variety to tuck our working pole in.
можно, вот смотрите, первый раз мы заводили за первую, можем за вторую, а здесь давайте
So first time we were tucking it in behind the next pole, we can insert it behind the second one, but let's try to insert it behind the third one and watch what kind of pattern we will get. So there can be different varieties of this edging. In this case, inserting behind the third pole.
и слегка подтягиваем. И узор получится у нас уже.
And pull a little.
То есть
And we will get a different pattern.
можно получить несколько.
So using one rope, we can get different varieties of edging.
У меня трубочки здесь крашеные, слегка пересохшие.
These tubes are painted and a little dry, so even if moisturizing them, they need softening anyway.
Затем, чтобы они не переламывались.
And one should follow them not to break.
Будем разбрызгивать.
To sprinkle in time, to moisten.
Последние стоечки у нас остались, мы их закрываем по рисунку.
We finish bending of the remaining tubes following the pattern. We have inserted into this loop, now into the next one. Follow the pattern trying to avoid breaking it. Now into this next loop. We have inserted into this one. Into the next one. Follow. Here. And the last loop left. Insert here. That's all. We've finished. The pattern has come out accurate. If you compare, they differ from each other, but we know already how. There we were leading behind the first pole, and here behind the third one. Such an edging, simple rope.